Welcome to the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette High School Football Podcast. We're back here in downtown Little Rock. We've had a fun non-conference slate of games, but it's conference time now, Rex Nelson. And I'm Jeremy Muck, the high school football coordinator at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. This is Rex Nelson, senior editor of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Rex, we got conference games this Friday.
I was going to say last week was kind of a slow week, Jeremy. You know, now that we have 11 weeks to play 10 regular season games, teams get to choose an open date, and more than half the teams chose that open date before the conference season starts. So we only had about half the teams in action last week. This week, virtually all the high school teams in the state will be in action. As you said, it's conference time. It should be very interesting.
Absolutely. This past Friday, we had like 67, 68 games in the state. Still filled 3 pages in our Saturday section. So don't get us wrong. We still had a lot of content to fill the paper in and had a lot of attention. But make no mistake, every team's going to play this week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Just looking back on Friday night, you know, what really impressed me about Friday night, Rex, just the Bryant Hornets, #1 team in the state, going up to Northwest Arkansas and dismantling the Fayetteville Bulldogs. You don't see that very often at Fayetteville High, but the way the Hornets just went in there and won that game. What were your takeaways from Bryant?
Absolutely. I mean, Bryant is clearly the #1 team in the state right now. Fayetteville, a traditionally good program, but as you said, that one wasn't even close. 42-13 in favor of the Bryant Hornets. You know, I mean, we knew what kind of coach Buck James was going back to his days of winning the state championship at Camden Fairview, but he has really got it. He's got a lot more resources at Bryant now, wins last year, and he could be really taking off on one of those long streaks, kind of like North Little Rock did before he broke it in the state championship.
You got that right. And the thing about Buck James is he's always talked about this program these last 3 or 4 years, how he's trying to get kids to buy in. And I think in the 4th year now, coming off of state championship game, these kids have bought in now. They know what Buck James and his staff are all about. And there's no doubt these first three games for the Hornets, they have mercy ruled their first 3 opponents. Pretty good teams too, by the way. Class 6A state runner-up Bentonville West, a state semifinalist last year in 7A, and Fayetteville, a perennial state contender. So the Hornets, hats off to Saline County right now. I mean, that's a heck of a ball club out there Buck James has right now. Just, you know, other games last week around the state, you know, Greenwood goes over to Oklahoma, beats Sand Springs Page. Rick Jones and the Bulldogs don't miss a beat, going to 3-0 once again.
Well, Rick, of course, used to be a coach in Oklahoma for many years. He knows the programs over there. He knows the people. And I think now that he's had things rolling for so long at Greenwood, he likes going over in Oklahoma and showing out. And that's a 50-20 victory over Sand Springs. Again, it wasn't even close, but it made Arkansas football look awfully good. We had a number of those out-of-state games last week that made Arkansas football look good. How about Pulaski Academy going down to Shreveport and beating Evangel 46-23, doubling them up?
Yeah, they did that without Braden Bratcher, who injured his hamstring against Memphis Ravenwood a couple weeks ago. And Nolan Bruffett came in for the Bruins, didn't miss a beat, had all close to 300 yards, had a couple scores, and the running game worked well for the Bruins as well. Joe Hyman had a couple touchdowns. You know, that's a program at Pulaski Academy, but, you know, if one player goes down, it's the next man up mentality, just like any other football program. And going down to Louisiana and not only winning, but winning like they did at Evangel Christian. It's just, that is a very good program at Evangel over the years. You don't see Evangel losing a game like that very often, but the Pulaski Academy getting it done down there representing the state of Arkansas.
You know, though, Jeremy, we talk about Pulaski Academy. They deserve to be #1 in 5A, but Little Rock Christian sent a message last week. They're not going away in the 5A. They beat a pretty good Greenbrier team 42-7. I thought that was by far Christian's most impressive performance so far this year.
Yes, absolutely. Looking at their first 3 games for the Warriors, defending 5A state champions, they went into Greenbrier, led 30. I believe they led 35-0, got it done early, and that's what good teams do. That's what good teams do. You take care of business. You don't mess around. Especially when you're a team like Little Rock Christian. You got to just get it going, and that's what they did. So, tell you what, speaking of Little Rock Christian, Pulaski Academy, They don't play this week against each other, but October 4th.
Yep.
That's going to be the matchup out there on Highway 10 out in Warriorville. Whew, that's going to be a good one.
That should be fun. That should be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Just, going down our top 10, just, Cabot improves to 3-0 under Scott Reed. Trailed at halftime against Benton, but won that game against the Panthers. Just, how about Scott Reed, the Panthers right now in that offense?
Yeah, they're playing very well. Scott Reed has not missed a beat, even though it's his first year at Cabot. And who knew Cabot could pass the football? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, but he is doing it successfully. And those kids seem to have bought into his program very, very quickly. And, I just still feel for Benton. Their schedule has been murderer's row to start the season.
Yeah, I mean, they're 0-3, but sometimes you don't just look at the record. You look at the teams they played.
Right.
Ben played Bryant, played Arkadelphia, played Cabot. I mean, that's as tough as the non-conference schedule as you're going to find in the state of Arkansas right now. And, Ben's got to go to work, though. They get Russellville on Friday night to open up the 6A West. So we'll see what Brad Harris and the Panthers can do to overcome that 0-3 start. But, hey, the good thing about conference season, you're 0-0, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just other highlights throughout this past weekend. On Thursday night out in Whitehall, Sheridan. How about the Sheridan Yellow Jackets? 2-1 for the first time in a while. There with Lance Parker. Sheridan trailed Whitehall 14-0, but came back, scored 21 points second half, beat Whitehall 21-14. Peyton Edwards, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Yellow Jackets in the driving rain in Jefferson County there. This heck of a performance by Sheridan on Thursday night.
Yeah, let me tell you, Lance Parker's a great coach. He comes from a long line in that Parker family. But as you know, Jeremy, on Saturdays I do Ouachita's play-by-play and have for many years. Lance is former Ouachita quarterback. And even when he was a quarterback, he was like a coach on the field. You could tell he had grown up with it. He had grown up around the game. And if he stays at Sheridan, I expect that program to become more and more competitive through the years. I think he's one of the top up-and-coming coaches in the state of Arkansas right now.
And he's in his second year at Sheridan, and they've already won 2 games.
Yes.
And it's just 2 wins. But the way they won that game on Thursday night, I was covering that game down at Whitehall, and past Sheridan teams, if you're down 14-0 at halftime, they would have quit. But they didn't quit. They had that long drive to start the third quarter, and they came back and won that game. Really impressed with what Sheridan did. And Sheridan on a Friday night gets Siloam Springs. That's going to be a good game out there in Grant County. Going down the line, Joe T. Robinson held on to beat Camden Fairview 20-14. Kind of a sloppy game for the Senators. A lot of penalties. Had 3 drives that stalled inside the 5. But Joe T. Robinson, a team that's been there before, they got it done. How about the Senators on Friday night?
Oh, they're gonna be around all year long in that 5A race. I still say, all being in the same conference, Arkadelphia, Nashville, Joe T. Robinson will all beat up on each other, but at least one of them, I predict, will be in the state championship game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you had 2 teams last year in the state title game, and you wouldn't be surprised to see at least one 7-4A team back in Little Rock in December. But just, going forward right now, just this week, conference season begins Friday night. Let's start with in Class 7A, North Little Rock at Little Rock Central.
Yeah.
That is a great rivalry game over the years. I mean, there's no love lost between those 2 schools. Right now, Central 3-0 for the first time in 3 years with Kent Laster at the helm. Lawson Gunn, Sam Franklin, they played great football for the Tigers over the last couple games. North Little Rock 1-2, but they played a tough schedule. They've played a couple out-of-state teams. Just your thoughts on North Little Rock Central going in Friday?
Well, I was going to ask you, Jeremy, if I had told you before the season started, all right, it's the week of the North Little Rock Central game. One team has won 3 consecutive games. One team has lost 2 consecutive games. Who would you have told me?
Boy, I probably would have said North Little Rock.
Yeah, but North Little Rock's the one that's lost a couple, albeit against very good opponents. Central, a very surprising 3-0. I think that's now a competitive program. We'll see if it's a competitive game on Friday night, but I'm beginning to think Central can play with North Little Rock.
If Central can beat North Little Rock on Friday night, that's going to send a lot. That's going to give Central get a lot of eyeballs on the Tigers. And it's one thing to start 3-0. If start 3-0 in non-conference, it's great. But you enter the 7A Central now. You're playing. There's no off week in that conference.
Exactly.
And if Central can win Friday night at Quigley, there's gonna be some more attention on the Tigers. And by the way, we mentioned Lawson Gunn. Just want to mention that Lawson Gunn is our All-Arkansas Press Player of the Week for his performance against Rogers a couple weeks ago. Had 350 yards, 4 touchdowns against the Mounties. Just a great performance by Lawson. He was honored on Monday at the Little Rock Touchdown Club's meeting here at Little Rock. So congratulations, Lawson, on that. Just going down the line, just looking at Class 7A again, just Bentonville, Springdale Harbor. Springdale Harbor's rebounded since they lost against Pulaski Academy. Bentonville's 3-0, Harbor's 2-1. Just how about Bentonville Harbor on Friday?
Again, I think it'll be a great game. Harbor won in a blowout on Friday night. I think, but we've got Bentonville rated higher than Harbor, but again, I expect that to be a very competitive game. I still think Fayetteville will have a say in the West, but Bentonville, Harbor, Fayetteville, I think that's your cream of the West right now.
Yeah, just absolutely. And Harbor, they're scoring a lot of points right now. But
really are.
But Bentonville's defense is pretty good too. So you got both sides of the spectrum right there. Just we'll see what happens there in Springdale on a Friday night. Just look at a Class 6A. Looking at the schedule. Marion and West Memphis in the 6A East. That's probably the game of the week out in the East right there. Marion, they had a good year last year, won 8 games. West Memphis, lost the win. They're 1-2 right now, but they're young. They're starting to get a little bit better, but. Marion West Memphis, that's another big rivalry game, definitely over in Eastern Arkansas. Just Patriots and the Blue Devils, Rex. What are your thoughts?
A great rivalry game. I was just over that way speaking at the Marion Chamber of Commerce annual banquet a couple of weeks ago, and they were already talking about it. I mean, that's the Crittenden County rivalry. You can basically walk from one school to another. They're pretty close to each other. So, again, both of them have talent this year. So, we'll see who comes out of that one, but I hate to pick in a rivalry game. It's really hard to pick a winner.
You just never know. I mean, rivalry games, they say throw out the record books. Yeah, I guess you probably throw out the records in this one. That's always definitely an interesting game there. It's the Class 5A, the game that jumps out at me, 5A West. How about Morrilton and Harrison? You got Jacoby Criswell, Gabe Husky for the Harrison Goblins. That's a heck of a way to open up the conference schedule on Friday night.
Yeah, in my mind, certainly those are 2 of your top 5 teams in the state in 5A, and they play each other. I would give the nod to Harrison in this one. I think they're playing awfully good football right now. But by the same token, Morrilton's good enough. Should they win the game, it wouldn't totally surprise me. But my nod would go to Harrison right now.
Jacoby Criswell, he's going to North Carolina. He's nursing an ankle injury right now. Missed the Devil Dogs last game against Little Rock Fair, but they've had the off week on Friday night, so he should be ready to go for that game in Harrison. That'll be a good one up there. We'll have coverage up there on Friday night. Looking at Class 4A, this is the game I've been circling all summer long. How about the 7-4A, Nashville and Arkadelphia?
Yeah, we've been talking about that already. I mean, it's one of the games of the year in all of high school football.
Yeah.
I love 4A football, but in all of high school football, those are 2 towns even that love their football. That is going to be an incredible atmosphere at Badger Stadium on Friday night.
Yeah, I will be there Friday night down in Clark County, and that's a game I'm already planning on getting there early.
Oh,
so
yeah.
at least get a parking spot. That's a good-sized parking lot there at Badger Stadium, but
there are going to be people walking a long way to get into the stadium for that one.
They may have, I don't know, maybe people have to park at Walmart.
At the Walmart Supercenter, that's what I was going to say.
Right behind there, right there on High School Road. You just never know, but both teams are 3-0 right now. And they played the Scrappers and the Badgers. They've been 2 of the most impressive teams I've seen in 4A this year. And, give me another great 7-4A game there on Friday night. A lot of orange and black, a lot of blue and red. Ooh, very colorful.
It's going to be a fun atmosphere. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, looking at other 4A games, this is a game that may not get as much attention, but Riverview at Central at CAC, that's a game that CAC's improved this year under Tommy Shoemaker, and also Drake Widener has trying to turn around the Riverview program up in Searcy.
Yeah, they have improved. I think I'd give the nod to CAC right now, but those are two improving programs, as you say, and a win in this one will give one of those programs a big boost going through the rest of the conference season.
Yeah, just that game right there, that's a interesting game right there. I mean, I would probably say CAC with the home field advantage right there could help them out there on Mustang Mountain, definitely with that grass field out there. Just going down to Class 3A, just you look at Osceola Hoxie. That's a game, that's an interesting game to me because Hoxie, all of a sudden, they've improved a little bit this non-conference season, and Osceola has rebounded from the loss against Valley View.
I was going to say they started a little slow, but they seem to be coming on now.
Yeah, just Osceola coming off the state championship game appearance last year in 3A, just trying to get things right this year, but that's always an interesting game there in the 3A. Just looking down the line here, Class 2A, just we got several games down in Class 2A. Just how about Conway Christian at Poland? Poland has had a good run so far with Vic Barrett, and Conway Christian's always a team you have to look out for in 2A.
Oh, absolutely. They will be around, although I still think that your Power 3 appears to be Fordyce, Hazen, and Junction City. I mean, all of them were impressive last week. Fordyce wins 50-13 over Monticello, so they go up in class again and win in a blowout. Hazen wins 63-20 over Mark Tree, and Junction City wins 41-0 over a Haynesville, Louisiana program that traditionally has been a powerhouse in Louisiana. Been to another number of state championship games. So those are three that are really, I know it's early, Jeremy, but really on a collision course for the playoffs.
Yes, right now. I absolutely agree with you there. We got Junction City number 1, Fordyce 2, Hazen 3. And those are three teams.
And it's hard to separate the three of them.
It really is. And also mentioned Foreman as well. Foreman's also 3-0 with new coach Adrian Ivory. And
the Gators beat Horatio 36-0. Had a shutout on Friday night.
Yeah, just a very 2A. There's not that Junction City is obviously the number 1 team right now, but there's a bunch of teams right there that can challenge the Dragons for sure. Just looking at the schedule.
When you get at that 2A level, one thing you have to always remember that's the smallest football level. Those teams are so depth shy that injuries make all the difference in the world. Yep. And the teams that stay well are the teams that are going to go the furthest, obviously, in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. More than any classification.
Much more.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, Junction City, they get strong at home on Friday night. Carlisle's at Hazen's hosting Carlisle.
That's a good rivalry game over on the Grand Prairie.
And absolutely, just, shout out to Carlisle. They came up here to Little Rock and beat Baptist Prep 26-0 on Friday night. It's a good win for the Bison out there. And, Fordyce is hosting Bearden. So, top 3 in the 2A are all at home this week. So we'll see how that goes in Class 2A. Just Rex, we've had 4 weeks of high school football here in the state so far. Just these first 4 weeks, it's been plenty hot. It's finally starting to cool. Maybe it'll start to cool down this Friday, but
let's hope.
What are your thoughts on these first 4 weeks in the state of Arkansas?
Well, I think the cream is rising to the top clearly, and they don't surprise us. I mean, I think Bryant's the team to beat in 7A. I think Greenwood's obviously the team to beat in 6A. I think PA, Little Rock Christian, with Harrison kind of knocking on the door, the teams to beat in 5A. Again, this Arkadelphia-Nashville game may determine who the team to beat is in 4A. So, we haven't seen teams necessarily come out of nowhere so far. If Central wins on Friday night, though, that would be the one that I'd say has completely come out of nowhere to be a top 10 team in Shakasala right now.
Yeah, if Central wins on Friday, that's definitely going to be a big-time win for that program, for a program that hasn't had a lot of big-time wins in recent years. But yeah, just looking at it, I mean, right now, Class 7A, Bryant's been the number 1 team, and they're looking very good right now. Greenwood, they're cream and crop in 6A.
Oh, yeah.
There's no one right now that has touched Greenwood at the moment. And by the way, Greenwood is coming here to Little Rock on Friday night. They're playing at Little Rock Hall over at Scott Field. So if you're in Central Arkansas, it's one of your rare chances to go watch Rick Jones and the Bulldogs.
Absolutely.
So if you want to go see a great program, Greenwood might be your chance to go see them this Friday night. Just 5A, you mentioned PA, Christian, Harrison. I think those are definitely the top 3 teams in the state right now. Obviously PA and Christian we meet October 4th, like we alluded to earlier. Class 4A, Arkadelphi's number 1. They get Nashville number 4. We have Nashville number 4 in our rankings this week, and they meet on Friday night. And Arkadelphi's got 2 tough games to start out 7-4A.
Well, they really do. They play Joe T the following week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, last year they started 0-2 in the conference, went on to win state championship. So, this year, J.R. Eldridge is preaching to his, I'm sure he's preaching to his team, he's wanted the better start. They got the good non-conference start at 3-0, but I think the better start for Eldridge and the staff down there is going 1-0 in the 7-4A. And, 3A, I thought 3A going into it was going to be very competitive. There isn't that one team, and so far, Rising, Prescott, Camden, Harmony Grove, Osceola, McGee's been good. Mansfield out of Northwest Arkansas has been pretty good as well. And then Class 2A, like we just mentioned, Junction City right now is our number 1 team, but just a lot of good football down there in 2A. So, tell you what, y'all, we're done with non-conference now.
Yep.
It gets serious now on Friday night. Everybody's 0-0 in the conference, but half the state's going to be 1-0. Another half's going to be 0-1. So, with that, thank you for watching or listening to the Arkansas Democrat Gazette High School Football Podcast. For Rex Nelson, I'm Jeremy Muck. Thank you for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.